Two men are lucky to be alive in northwest Minnesota after a brush with carbon monoxide. This story from Andrea Borsvold of our news partner, mynorthstarnews.com. Two local men are lucky to be alive after a dangerous encounter with carbon monoxide poisoning, thanks to the quick thinking of a friend and the rapid response of a local emergency services. On Monday, January 6th, Sam Grandstrand was working on Gary Kuava's John Deere 3010 tractor transmission in Gary's shop west of Strandquist. Gary had been using the shop the previous week without any problems. That morning, his neighbor, Greg Kuznia, came by to help as well. After working together through the morning, Gary and Greg left for town to pick up parts, and Sam continued the project. Earlier in the afternoon, an unusual situation began to unfold as the three men were working together. Quote, I stood up and felt lightheaded, but I blamed it on dehydration, Sam explained. I drank 2 bottles of water, but was still extremely thirsty. Gary wasn't feeling well either, so we assumed it was low blood sugar since he hadn't eaten much. I told Greg we needed to get Gary to the house. Before they could make it far, the situation escalated. Quote, Sam tried to get up, then collapsed to the floor, Gary recalled. I fell back into some sawhorses, but I didn't lose consciousness. Gary, unsure of what was happening, suspected a diabetic shock or a stroke. It wasn't until Sam did a faceplant onto the cement floor that I knew I had to call 911, he said. That was my first time ever calling 911. When the first ambulance arrived and took Sam, Greg used the prowler to bring Gary to the house so he could change out of his dirty clothes. A second ambulance from New Fulton then transported Gary to the hospital in Thief River Falls. Meanwhile, the fire department tested the shop's air with a carbon monoxide meter, which registered over 160 parts per million, a dangerously high level. For reference, safe levels should not exceed 3 parts per million. Although Greg initially went home believing he only had a headache, he later sought treatment at Sanford and Thief River, where he was placed on oxygen for around 6 hours until his blood gases returned to normal. After hours of minimal improvement, doctors at Sanford decided to fly both Sam and Gary to Hennepin County Medical Center in Minneapolis. There they received oxygen therapy in a specialized hyperbaric chamber, the most effective method for removing carbon monoxide from the body. We were fortunate to have a good outcome, retired career firefighter of 25 years, Sam said. But we wanted to share our story to help prevent others from facing a similar or worse situation. The shop air was clear and odorless, and none of us were showing typical symptoms of CO poisoning. Today, the three men are all recovering well and preparing to finish the tractor repair. An HVAC technician has serviced the faulty heater, and CO2 detectors have been installed in the shops of all three men. The men expressed deep gratitude to the Tri-County EMS and ambulance crews from both Carlstead and New Fulton for their swift response and excellent care. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNewZ.TV.